Hi, so just a little note about coming out. I did a video which was embedded in an email about transition with takeaway points for those I work with, to try to sort of smooth the way, to promote a little bit of communication about the issue. And it went pretty well. The video itself is reasonably well put together, a bit long, but at least the email as well gave an entry point. And this was following up from kind of workplace relations recommendations in the case of transition in the workplace. And so I felt like it needed to be done because I don't have the chance to talk to people every day, you know, unless of course they're in my local jurisdiction. But at any point I will be working with some of the people that I communicated with in the greater context, and also need to sort of make it known because obviously I am in transition and there are changes. Also for my own well-being and safety. So pronouns are just the beginning of it really, but they are an important beginning. So that's kind of what I communicated. I'll put in the link below what I'd done. A lot of colleagues wrote to thank me and to support me. However, there were some errant comments on the video, one of which I had to remove because it was visible, and the other, the account just sort of held because they were considered to be inappropriate. So it's really interesting how YouTube works. I've never had a kind of really negative comment in this regard. But in addressing the comments, they're things that you see all the time when people try to troll trans people. And that's become a real hate fest. And I've seen them before and I've challenged them in regard to other trans people. But of course, you know, I'd never actually received many of them, maybe one or two, on a video. And these were particularly foul. Interestingly, one was clearly either TERF or informed by TERF discourse. The others were men that basically feel threatened by me as someone who's trans and a woman. So, you know, they're not pleasant, but they're par for the course. We know these expressions of both transphobia and anti-trans sentiment, and the way in which people try to make politics out of our bodies and our identities and delegitimate us at any point. So but it is amazing how we're held up for inspection, that people think it's open slather. You know, for example, me just appearing online, I am a reiteration of sex stereotypes, right? Apparently in my pre-transition life I wasn't, but I am now, and you know, give or take choice to use a little bit of makeup, which a lot of the time I don't. Apparently politics should and must be made of that in order to stop the existence and appearance of people such as myself that do nothing for the feminist cause. So, you know, I think the words were trashing an entire sex class. I didn't know I had that influence. My intention would be never to trash as such. I mean, it's honestly quite strange, isn't it? Because think about it, like, I'm doing anything but, like, by identifying with women, and as a woman, I'm not trashing women, but the logic there is really missing. It's more about having predetermined that we represent this big boogeyman. Boogeyman might be different, like getting down and having a boogie, but particularly being disciplined back into being told that you're a man. That's also part of it as well. And another phrase, which was pronoun shagging. I was also told to stop denying my homosexuality, as if I've ever looked at homosexuality that way, and to enjoy my gender bending. I think a lot of people don't realise it's not strictly speaking about gender. gender is a way of making intelligible who we are in social contexts, because we're all bound in some way to a gender system. And I'm the first person to be gender critical. It's actually about embodiment. It's actually about survival as a person with a subjectivity. And that subjectivity does not fit within your confines. It's not the same as your subjectivity. But why is it that suddenly, with the appearance of trans feminine, trans female identifying, and trans masculine and trans male identifying, that we are not even allowed to have any kind of space, right? There's an absurdity to this, because we don't affect such turfs. I don't come in contact with them. I don't do a politics that is openly about trying to get them to stop speaking and making their claims, albeit they potentially are damaging. And the politics that they advance, such as, very much on lines of that there are just two sexes and genders, and that anything else should not be in existence and should be de-documented, removed from legal status, not allowed to basically live. It's very interesting. It is definitely part of fascist politics, and we can see the consequences unroll from the United States right now. But yeah, I have no way of speaking back, because I'm part of a 0.5% really of the population, and it turns out that someone like me should never even appear in their books, right? In their online fury. And I can only ever be a stick figure. I can't be my own complexity just like them. I can't be someone in a process of evolution. I must be pinned down and told everything about who I am, what my life represents. Of course, I just reported the comment. I don't even know this person, but I'm expecting that there'll be more of that kind of ilk. What such people do not understand is they think that we're easily shot down, right? I mean, I haven't even made myself a politics out of, the turf wars openly. I do have my own thinking about that. But we've survived a lot, even to get to the point of being able to transition. And I do think that some people just resent that we can do this successfully, and that we can have full lives. That's what they don't like. They want us to be street denizens, right? Oh, well, some of us have been. But they want us to be, as I think the Spanish MP, transsexual MP, Carla Antonelli said, they want us to be at the margins of society. They want us to be policed. They want to take part in that policing. They want an order where the law defines which bodies can matter, which bodies can have intelligibility and access to full life itself. They want civil death for trans people. Yeah, they want to discipline us back. This is really anti-LGBTQ and it's anti-feminist, but don't expect a kind of consciousness about that anytime soon.